And we're live. Hopefully, there's some people that want to tune in and talk tractors. Oh, I've already woke the dog up. Well, let's see. We'll just wait for some people to log in and see what's going on. I don't really have a whole lot to say other than I'm open for conversation. So, hope everybody's having a good weekend. That's for sure. Got a few people watching, but any burning questions in your mind or anything you want to talk about, feel free to post over on the side of the screen there. You can enter the live chat. Patch of Heaven Farms is here. How you doing, bud? Good to see you. Hope the weather is as good down there as it is up here. You're not that far from me, so I think it was about, 40, 42 today where I'm at. Got kind of the final pieces of the Farmall H tore apart, and I got one more thing to do, and then everything's going to the trailer to go to sandblast. So I don't know if you guys can hear me okay or not. Everybody hear me? Yes? No? Maybe? Yeah, I hear you. I'm getting ready to start the work outside too. I was just looking out the back window here at that that trail that I cut last was it last year or 2 years ago now when we first moved in here? And I'd like to clear a lot more of that buckthorn that's back there and thin it out, but it's hard to do when it's cold, so. And there's a foot of snow on the ground back there still. You can't cut it low to the ground. Hey Dave, how's it going? 49 GMC, what's up? Good to see you. Glad you're here. This tractor chat will run, or tractor talk, I'm sorry. It's going to run till 7 p.m., so another hour. I'm kind of sticking to my limits on that, but I'm doing good, Dave. I'm doing good. It was a long week, exhausting week, but we got through it and got some of the final stuff done on the H today so that it's going to be ready for sandblast next week. So I'll start loading stuff on the trailer probably tomorrow, and it'll be going Monday or Tuesday over to the sandblast shop. So getting close. But I actually grabbed a piece to show you guys, kind of give you a sneak peek. Oh, your cam broke in the A? That sucks, man. Sorry to hear that. Farmall or John Deere? It was a Farmall, right? Dave? Yeah. John Deere. Yeah. The cam is probably the hardest part to get out of the crankcase on those, unfortunately. But hey, Kevin, what's up? Did I get the broken bolt out of the bolster? I did. I tried to use my cutting torch, but I don't think I got a big enough rosebud tip on it, so it wasn't. I mean, I was able to get it. The top portion I was able to get red hot and torch it, but I couldn't penetrate enough with the heat. So I ended up drilling and tapping. Not a big deal. The tapping, you got to be really careful with the tapping on those, just because when you're chasing threads and cast, those taps have a tendency to catch and break real easily. So frozen pump, well, that'll do it. especially if that pump drive coupler is designed to break before anything else. So if somebody has gone in there, a lot of guys will take a socket and they'll cut it off, cut the nut portion of the socket off and just leave the drive portion. Yeah, it's probably an old socket or something that somebody used, and they use that in place of the original. And tool steel is a lot tougher than that regular. What's supposed to be in there is just a piece of a square stock or square tubing, basically. And when that pump locks up, it's supposed to snap that coupler. But if somebody put something in there made out of tool steel, it ain't going to break. It's going to break either the pump or the cam. So, have I discussed with the sandblast guy which abrasive I'm going to use to not destroy the surfaces? Well, the cast iron, I'm not real worried about. He's sandblasted hundreds, probably thousands of items. He does hot rods, he does tractors, he does tanks, he does all kinds of anything you can sandblast. He does. So he knows what he's doing, and I actually had the case sandblasted by him before, and he did a great job. So I'm not worried about it at all. Yeah, I broke, I think, 3 out of 8 on my M, Kevin. Those front bolster bolts are, if they don't come loose, they're a pain in the butt. Ryan, how you doing? Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I've got to catch up on your Farmall 400 videos. I've been so busy. I have a hard enough time getting through my own videos, let alone watching a whole lot of anybody else's. But Luke, how you doing? Glad you can make it. Good to see you. Is the cam gear pressed on? Well, I'm 95% sure that it's keyed, so it's gonna be a tight fit. I mean, you'll probably need an arbor press to get it out of there, or at least a puller of some kind. But a 2-jaw puller you'll probably need. Who's doing the sandblasting? A-Blast in East Bethel. They're just down the road from me. So, oh, that's right. I was going to show you guys just a sneak preview of what special touches are going to go on the H. So, feast your eyes on this. Can anybody tell me what this is? This is courtesy of JR Custom Plating in North Branch, Minnesota. So this is one of several very special pieces that's going to go on the H. That's right, it is the gear shift lever. So, did those sheet gasket numbers end up working out for me? I did look them up, but I haven't ordered any because it was more for future reference. I really don't need any right now, but in the future, I'm going to order a lot of that stuff. So yes, I did look it up, and thank you for that. So, umbrella holder, no, but I do have to make a flag, some type of flag holder for that tractor. So, because I have a couple of suicide awareness, I guess you'd call it memorabilia pieces that I want to display with the tractor when it's at shows, and let people see it stand out. It'll catch their eye a lot better with those pieces. So, and then for you guys that see it at the show too, you guys will know right away it's the tractor that we all worked on. So, I could go get another piece to show you guys another special touch if you want. It'll only take a second. Steve wants to know if I've thought about what type of paint I plan on using and primer. Well, the primer is going to be done by a friend of Bill over at A-Blast. He volunteered to do the primer. So it's going to be something that's compatible with PPG Omni paint. It's a single stage urethane paint, same paint that I got on the case. It's held up really well. It covers really well. When you use hardener with it, it looks really great, has a great shine. If any of you have seen the case at some of the shows, I get a lot of compliments on that tractor. And that was done 12 years ago, 11, 12 years ago. And granted, it sits inside most of the time, so that helps, against UV fade, but it's held up really well. So took 2 days to drain the Farmall H gear lube. Yeah, I know how that is. Trust me. When I had the M freeze up on me last year, it took a long time to drain the gear lube out of there to change it out. So, hey Ryan, how you doing? Welcome. Glad you could make it to the Tractor Talk. So this is our first official Tractor Talk session. I plan on doing this at least once a month. So made a flagpole out of PVC pipe and old generator bracket. See, I'm thinking about grabbing just a section of pipe and then, just maybe a 12-inch section and welding a bracket to it that I can bolt to the front of the, where the cultivator mount holes are in the front pedestal through the grill. I was thinking of mounting it to that. So, and then I just weld a nut to it and then use a set screw with a pole. So, hey Hyatt, welcome. Glad you could make it. Thanks for the compliment on the SC. And yes, it is ready to come back in the garage. It's let's see, I'll show you where it's sitting right now. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's right there. Not real thrilled about it being outside, but what are you gonna do? 6.0016 on the front of the H with 13.638 rears. Yep, that's what I'm running. That's what I'll be running on this H. I actually have an old cultivator bracket. It was on the H already, so that's probably what I'll do is I'll modify it a little bit and mount the flag pole to that. Ryan just picked up an Alice WC and you're looking at a WD. Awesome. I don't have any Alice, but I do like them. I think the unstyled WCs are pretty cool looking. I just don't have one. I had one in the backyard for a while. I was keeping here for Pete, but yeah, 6-16 will fit just fine on an H. My M, I'm running 650 16s. I probably could have went with 7.0 16s, but that probably would have been a little overkill on the front as far as width goes on the stock rims. I don't know if you guys can hear that fan noise, but my computer is making I don't know if the cooling fan is on its way out or what, but it's been doing this the last few days. So I don't know. This thing is 9 years old, so it's seen a lot of road. Charlie's contact information. I'll tell you what, I'll give you the website right now. I'm going to put it over in the chat here for you. charliesrepair.com. He actually makes a lot of cool stuff. not only does he do the 12-volt alternator kits for the farmalls, but he does splitting stands and all kinds of cool stuff. So stepdad has a D10 Alice, way more power than traction. Now, that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can create traction just by putting weight on the rear. So, am I planning on going to the Lesueur swap meet? I'm hoping to. I'd like to go and see what I might be able to find for the D. Not that I really need anything, but if I can find a crankcase cover with a nice toolbox, that would be a good find. But yeah, I plan on going. So I may have to do docks and lifts on Friday and Saturday up at a lake north of here that I do every year. We do about roughly 20 docks and 40 boat lifts every spring and every fall. It's a lot of work, but the money's good for a day and a half job, and I've been doing it for a long time. So, and it usually falls on the same weekend as Lesueur. We usually put the docks and lifts in the weekend that the ice goes out. So if the ice goes out Thursday, we're in the water Friday. Yeah, I won't be going Friday if docks and lifts are going in. I won't be going Friday, but I will be going. I hope, but I got a bunch of stuff I could. Actually, I just put the original rims and tires from the H on Facebook Marketplace to try and sell them to get more money to put towards this project. Every little piece that I can get rid of that I don't need, all that money goes towards this project and towards the ending donation if there is any. So no, Charlie's Repair is right in let's see, right in Austin, Minnesota. So not very far away from you. It's probably about 2.5 hours from me, but I should hit the Mackinac Bridge crossing. I don't even remember when it is. It would be cool to go, but it's a long drive for me. And first of all, I don't have a truck or a trailer to haul anything, so I can't, I can't haul anything out there. Yeah, I've been to the Lesueur swap meet a few times, and it is busy, that's for sure. Even when the weather's crappy, it's still busy because it never fails. It either rains, snow, sun, wind, all in the same weekend. It seems like. I think last year we have a snowstorm, but it was pretty much gone by noon. I think the snow because it warmed to like 60 degrees. Snow in the morning, 60 degrees in the afternoon. Welcome to Minnesota. What happened to my truck? Are you talking about the blue Dodge that I had? That I gave that truck to my brother. He was in a tough spot, and you know, long story short, he got his license back, and he needed a vehicle to get to and from to work. So, I gave him the truck. Hello, Outcast Projects. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Tractor Talk live stream. Glad you could make it. Yeah, so if anybody's looking for used set of rims and tires. The front tires are shot, but the rear tires are probably 40% tread, and you guys saw me put the tubes in them, so I'm trying to get rid of them to put towards the project. I don't know. I'll have a variety of leftover pieces, but am I going to Root River this year? I'm going to try. I'm going to really try. Hey Todd, welcome. No worries, man. We still got plenty of time. We're only 20 minutes into this thing, so Root River is a really cool show. It's smaller, but there's a lot of cool, unique things to see at Root River. So, do I have any tips on removing exhaust pipe from a manifold on an H? I would say heat it, but it's probably not going to help. Those exhaust pipes are really really rusted in there, especially after a long time. Plus the constant heat cycles it goes through doesn't help. So what I've seen a lot of guys do is they'll cut it off and then they'll make some vertical cuts into the pipe, being careful not to get into the threads too much um, of the manifold, and then they'll clean it with a 2-inch tap, 2-inch pipe tap. Am I working at Rudy's this weekend? I was going to work today, but he just got back from California on Thursday, I think, and he's got a bit of a cold, and I don't want to go and risk getting sick and then bring it home and get my baby sick or my wife, because right now neither one of us can take any time off work because we're saving all that we can for our delayed honeymoon that we're taking 2 years after our wedding. So we're going on vacation in May. So trying to save all the time we can. Any more parts needed for the H? Well, there's one thing that I am concerned about, and it's the radiator. We've got some questionable soldering on the bottom tank of the radiator, and I can see cracks in the solder, so I'm afraid that's going to leak. I also have concerns about when I clean it. I did a lot of research, and a lot of guys use CLR, that calcium lime and rust remover, and combine it with Coca-Cola. Dump like 2 jugs of CLR and then a couple liters of Coca-Cola, and then fill the rest up with water and let it sit for a week to dissolve any rust that's in there. But I'm afraid if I do that, I'm going to have even more leaks show up, where the core is soldered to the tanks, and, where the fins are going through the tubes in the core. And I'm real afraid that thing's going to leak terribly. And from what I've read online, all the aftermarket radiators fit like crap. There are 2 new old stock International Harvester new old stock radiators on eBay right now, but they ain't cheap. I think they're asking like $500 for each of them. So, and even a new aftermarket radiator is around $300 to start. They're $300 to $500 depending on where you get it from. So, I am concerned about the radiator. But other than that, it's pretty much just nuts and bolts and primer and paint and body filler. So, that I know of. Let's see. I got to catch up here. Dave needs H parts. About all I've got right now is leftover brake pedals and rims and tires. Hey, Craig. Glad you can make it. Good to see you. Nick, good to see you. welcome. I always try to catch up on your stuff when I can. Nick's got if you guys haven't visited Nick's channel, go check his stuff out. He's got a lot of cool videos, a lot about Steam. It's not everything's about Steam, but there's a lot about Steam. So we actually met in Andover, South Dakota at the 150 unveiling. So yeah, Luke, I've talked to Squatch about that, and I'm going to contact those guys on Monday and see if they might be interested in helping out. He brought the radiator out of the Super M there, and they only charged him like $90 to fix the leaks and pressure test it and clean it out. So the only downfall is it's about 2 hours from here. So, but it'd give me an excuse to go up to Duluth and see Lake Superior again. I sure do miss going up there. We usually make a trip once a year. So, and this year or last year we didn't make it. So. Yeah, Steve, the aftermarket radiators, I've heard a lot of bad things about them. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Rick Bork, what's up? We got one of the legends here. Gosh, hopefully this fan isn't making too much noise for you guys. This computer fan. I don't know what the heck's going on with it, but. Have I installed the cam on an A? No, I have not. That was the only piece of my John Deere A that I didn't have out of the crankcase. God, I got a wicked itch in my nose, but I have not. Maybe somebody else here has taken the cam out of a John Deere A and reinstalled it, but that is the one piece I didn't have out of there. But I had the same thing happen. The pump was froze up on that A. Actually, the whole engine was locked up, but there was, I don't know if you guys, I wish I would have made better videos back when I first got the A, but I only got a couple slideshows up of that tractor when I first got it. But anyways, the what was there was 8 inches of ice in the bottom of the crankcase. You know, I mean, it took me days to thaw that thing out. But everything came out of there except for the camshaft. Hey, Weem, what's up? I hope I say that right. Weem? Is it Weem or Wee Me? Got a good radiator shop up there, so let you know. I will. I'm gonna call this one that Squatch uses and see. Maybe they might even be interested in helping with the project. You know, on a cost level basis. Yeah, the radiator shop that I brought it to. Okay, Wee Me. All right, I'll make sure to keep that in my head. The radiator shop I brought it. They pretty much just highballed it just because they didn't want the job. I think they quoted me 700 plus to put a new core in it, pressure test it, and I'm like, $700. You know, I can get a brand new radiator for 300 to 500. And he said, yeah, that's what most guys do. And I'm like, well, I wonder why. Yeah, and that he said 700 or more. And I'm like, well, the tractor's barely worth $700, you know, as it sits. You know, when I had it running, it was a $700 tractor. We paid $350 for it, so I mean, it wasn't running at the time, but let me go grab another piece, and I'll show you guys quick. Here's another piece. I just got it test fitted together, but that is the friction throttle for the H. So you can see these guys do really great work. I mean, that's just fingerprints on there. But this stuff is mirror finish chrome, man. So it's going to be the only H around like this. I can almost guarantee you that. How many emails and YouTube comments do I respond to in a week? Well, it depends on, the comments on the YouTube videos. Really, they only spike when I post a new video usually. So I don't know. I think on average, when I post a new video, there's probably anywhere from 20 to 40, 20 on the low end, 40 on the high end as far as comments go. So whenever I post a new video, there's 20 to 40 that I respond to on an average. And then emails, I probably get, well, you, Hyatt, you're probably one of my good pen pals, I guess I could call it. Hyatt, Craig, I get some emails from Craig. Kent, I get emails from. Squatch, once in a while, just when I'm bouncing ideas off of them, that's usually when we talk. Otherwise, it's just through YouTube comments. Tony, I get some emails from every week. So I don't know. I probably respond to more emails than I do, or I probably get more emails than I do comments on the videos. So probably 30 or more emails a week. But it depends. Sometimes everybody's busy and I might get 5 in a week, but how am I able to respond to all of my comments and stuff? I just do. When my baby takes a nap, I'll jump on the computer quick and see if there's any new emails, or I'm sure eventually if this channel really blows up, it's going to be hard to keep up with the comments on the YouTube videos and stuff. But I think the emails, it's pretty limited to just regular people that I talk to, like Hyatt and Kent and Tony. But I don't know, I'm going to try and keep up as much as I can. I like connecting with everybody and I like helping out, and you pester me on Facebook Messenger at times. Well, now I'm curious. I get, that's another thing. I get a lot of people from YouTube that find me on Facebook, and I didn't plan on that, but that's just kind of how it happened. And a lot of people ask me questions through Facebook Messenger, and sometimes those can be a little much, just because I got into this conversation with Connor at This Old Farm, and Ben from 1928 Farmall Ben. He's the one with the regular. It's I love helping people with antique tractors, and I can definitely, I'll try to go above and beyond as much as I can, but sometimes it can be taxing. I learned everything that I know by research, by reading forums, by asking questions either in the forums on Facebook, by using the search tab in the forums, looking it up in the manuals, going to the Case International or the John Deere website and researching part numbers and seeing what cross-reference is, and finding bearing cross-reference websites, seal cross-reference websites, and I try to make lists of all that stuff so I don't have to do it again. But there's a lot of crappy research that you got to do in order to do a lot of learning, and that's a big reason why I make these videos, is so I can show people at least how I got things apart, to the best of my abilities with pretty average tools. And that's how I don't know. I love helping people out, but sometimes people got to be patient, because I do work my full time job. I work for Rudy part time. I do this YouTube. You know, I'm I'm taking care of the baby, doing daddy daycare during the day while my wife works, and then my main job is overnights, so I don't sleep a lot, as you can tell by the way I look. So amp gauge housing would look good in chrome. Rodney, I've got some pieces that are going into the amp gauge housing chrome, so I think I didn't want to overdo it, with the chrome. So plus there's something real special you guys are going to really like that's coming for this. Very, they're big pieces, and you're going to like it, trust me. I hope you like it. So, but most of your switch knobs and pretty, here's what I've got going so far. Every kind of knob and lever and things like that. Anything you can push or pull is gonna, except for the ignition switch, is gonna be chrome. So just those little accents. Connor's doing good. He's still in high school, so he's busy with that. Plus, he's helping his dad on the farm when he can. He just got his first job, so he's working there too. So Elk Mike, welcome from Otsego, Minnesota. Hey, that's not far from me at all. Actually, I was just over in Otsego not too long ago. So, yeah, Dave, that's true. There's a lot of guys that, they throw that, why don't you buy a manual comment in your face. And, it is what it is. You can't learn everything from a manual because a lot of them are general guidelines. I tell people that if you can find the original repair manuals, that's your best bet. The INT manuals are good, but they're not great. So I should do a toolbox tour. Hey, that's a good idea. You want to come help me empty empty all my toolbox because it's kind of a mess right now. But no, that's a good idea. I should do that. Easiest way to fix a problem is to take them apart. That's right. Unfortunately, and usually when you tear into them, you find a lot more. I mean, look at what happened with the H. We were just going to do a reseal on the rear end, and we ended up gutting it, finding bad bearings, finding bad shafts. The rear case was cracked. It was already broke, brazed, and then it was cracking again. So we ended up getting a rear case for it. So, uh, what is my full-time job? I am a corrections officer, or for the layman, I'm a prison guard for the state of Minnesota. So, pretty. That job it's a good job. It's got great benefits, a lot of vacation time. Um, but I'll tell you, it's 24/7, and I've been involved in some things that can be pretty stressful. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of abnormal stuff that happens inside of prison. So I do a pretty good job of disguising my sailor language when I'm on YouTube, because I'll tell you, when I'm at work, it's every other word. It's just the environment you're in. Locker room talk, I guess you could say. But it's a good job. I like it. I mean, I'd rather not work overnights, but I've been doing it for 9 years now, and there's no end in sight until we have our second kid, and that child is in kindergarten. So that's when I'll be able to finally go to days. Hey man, appreciate that. It's just another day in the life for me. So, but I like it. I kind of fell into it when I was going to college. I started for engineering, then switched my major to law enforcement, and things really weren't looking good for a guy of my look, I guess you could say, um, as far as career outlook in that. So I switched to teaching, and I actually did 3 semesters of um, elementary education, and I wasn't on the same page with current views as far as curriculum, legislature. There's a whole lot of stuff that I just did not, and I still don't agree with it. But my kid's going to go to public school, so what are you going to do? They're going to teach them one way, and I'm going to have to try to either learn what they're teaching them or teach them what I think is better. Just trying to catch up here. Oh, Minnesota Oliver and Deer's here. All right. Just got back from dealing with a clutch nightmare. Well, sorry to hear that. Better you than me. Are there any programs for inmates to pick up a trade or skill? Well, at my location, it's pretty minimal as far as trades go. We don't have any industry at our location, but there are other facilities within the state where they can learn trades and do all kinds of things. We do have a lot of plant maintenance that's taken care of by inmates, so they can learn like basic plumbing, basic electrician, basic carpentry, uh, things like that. But they can go to college while they're in prison. They just can't go to the campus. They take their college courses online through our education center. So I'd be an FFA advisor. Um, well, that would be really great, except I don't know anything about growing crops and I don't know anything about livestock. So, mechanics, yeah, I could help you out with mechanics if it's an antique, but anything newer than 1955, I tell people I won't touch it because I've had a lot of people ask me if I'd work on, their. I think the newest thing I had was a guy asked me if I'd put a clutch in a 4020 John Deere, and I'm like, nope, sorry. A, I don't have the equipment, and B, that's beyond my caliber of knowledge. So I actually, when I did some student teaching when I was in college, when I was still pursuing my teaching degree, I did go into the classroom one day in my uniform, and the kids were very impressed. But I also did a lot of things up until the baby was born. I had to quit doing a lot of the volunteer things at the prison. But I was a self defense and control tactics instructor for the DOC. I'm still a current weapons instructor for the DOC. I am a team or response team instructor. I'm a field training officer. I teach report writing. I'm also involved with our recruitment and diversity committee. So I do a lot of things for the prison as well. So I can't do as many of them anymore because I have to stay primarily on midnights, and most of that stuff is taken care of during the day hours. But I do still teach weapons, and I'm still a field training officer, and I do a couple other things. But hey, Matt, welcome. Glad you're here. Been wiring in the shop all afternoon. Are you wiring tractors or are you wiring the shop? Do I want a 112? Nah, man, I don't have any room right now for nothing. John, welcome. Glad you're here. Good to see you. Dave loves auctioneering. So he's now in the cold forging machine repair. Not so you repair cold forging machines, I'm guessing? Is that what it is? All right, we'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in. Shoot, we only got 15 minutes left. I bet we could extend this another 15 minutes though. We could go to 7:15, I bet. Why not? I think my wife's taking a nap, so I still got to eat dinner, but oh well. Dinner can wait. Matt's been wiring the shop. Hey, when you're done with that, you want to come build a shop over here? Okay. I got to lean back on the couch, guys. Sorry. It's starting to hurt my back. There we go. Much better. That's why they call it a laptop, right? Elk Mike's been shopping for an old F12, and they are hard to find. Yeah, they're kind of slim pickings. You'll find one though. You got to keep your eyes open, but they're out there. Get on that Facebook Marketplace, you'll probably find one. Yeah, retired. Okay, well, retired ain't bad. I got let's see, 22 and a half years to go before I'm retired. So, but I can wait. I don't want to rush it. I'm perfectly fine being the age I am. Hey, Matt, come on over, man. I don't have anything power tool related as far as air nailers, but I can swing a hammer. Do I think the Northern Threshing Club would like a 110 at Riverfest? I can ask them. They actually sent me an email a couple weeks ago asking if I was going to have a tractor there again this year for them. And I have to work the day before and the day after, or the night before and the night after. So it's going to make for a really long day and a half. But I'm going to try and get I'm going to try and get a tractor there for them. So yeah, Elk Mike, you should go check out Patch of Heaven Farms channel. He's got an F12. I bet Richard at Old Farm Junk 101 would sell you one of his F12s. You'd have to drive to, I think he's in Ohio or Indiana or Illinois. He's he's in one of those East Central states. Dave retired at only 46. Wow. Yeah, start your own auctioneering business. Heck with it. Am I going to be building a new shop soon? Oh gosh, that would be great, but I doubt it. I've kind of been on the fence. I've been talking to Hyatt about this, but I wanted to build a 12 by 16 shed, just a storage shed or yard barn, whatever you want to call it, this spring, but I don't know if I want to do that or just save the money and keep putting money away for a shop. But my thought was when my wife's car is paid off, we could then take out a loan and build a shop that way, and we'd just essentially be replacing one payment with another. But at least with the payment on a shop, I could maybe do a little extra work out there for money and pay it down quicker. So I don't know. We need something for extra storage, though. If I could get 80% of what's in the garage out of the garage and into a shed, then the case and the H could be parked on one side of the garage, in the wintertime, and my wife's car could be on the other side, and she would be happy. B, I want to get the D in there as soon as this H is done and start pulling the engine apart and see what we're working with on that John Deere D. So I could use I could use more space, that's for sure. I should do an update video on Tony's F12 sometime soon here. It's been a while since I've been over there. I know he's got the engine all back together and in it, and he's got the rear steel mounted on it, but I don't know much else as far as progress, what he's done to it. Save the money and build the shop I want? Well, even with a shop, I still want a shed. Because here's the deal. I don't want to keep like the lawn tractor and all the lawn equipment in the shop because that's going to clutter everything up. I'd rather have that in a storage shed and then just have a workshop for tractors and car repairs. I don't want it cluttered up with lawn equipment. You know what I mean? So either way, I'm going to want a shed regardless. And we have a 7x7, one of those plastic Rubbermaid sheds that came with the house, but you can't keep nothing in it. I got that thing stacked to the ceiling in there, stuff stacked on top of the lawnmower, and Monica, hello. Hope you're enjoying so far. I mean, I hope Hyatt's treating you well. Wasn't it his night to cook dinner? Hey Dave, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. You like the tractor tattoo I got? Actually, there's a lot more to it. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys this in full, but here you go. So up top, that's a 65 horse case steamer, and then this one here is my grandpa's case SC. That's the unstyled A John Deere, and then that's the Farm All M right there with the front loader on it. So there it is. But that's the only thing you're going to see, so don't even ask. I can't do use shipping containers here because I'm in city limits, so it has to, anything I use has to match the look of the house. So I'm restricted. I can build up to a 30x60, but it has to match the house. And if I were to go pull a permit, get this. If I were to go pull a permit and I ask for a permit for a pole building, they will give it to me. But if I say it's a pole barn, they won't. Same thing, right? Not to them. If I want a full hydraulic loader, nah. I appreciate the offer, but the reason I got this loader is because it's the same exact loader that my grandpa had on his M. So if I can't, if I can't get a hold of that guy that's got my grandpa's M, and I've been trying, at least once a month I call and leave a message, but he never answers and he never calls back. So that's all I can do is keep trying. But I built this M to look and be exactly like my grandpa's M. So Craig, yeah, he actually just built a brand new shop. So working on the loft, or the loft is done, and he's working on electric now. Well, I got the grass cut over there last fall, but I haven't broke ground on it. Yeah, it's cities and their language, whatever. But Craig wants to help with the shop. Well, we got a lot of work ahead of us. Yeah, Grandpa's M. I haven't heard nothing. I know roughly where it's located, but I haven't heard anything from my uncle lately. So I haven't talked to him since probably Christmas. But crazy question. Granddad owned an F12 in the early 30s, but no way you could ever find a serial number, receipts. Is there any way to find that info from anywhere else? No. All of the records were destroyed in a fire at International Harvester back in the 50s. So they're, unfortunately, unless you have the serial number or some other type of interesting identifying factor, there's really not much you can do. If now some guys have tracked it through auctions, like if it's gone to an auction service at some point, if you know the name of the auction service, they might still be around, or if you know who it was sold to, you might be able to connect the dots some way by knowing some of that information. But unfortunately, Kent, there's nothing, there's no records of that stuff. So, but I think we'll extend this to 7:15. We're getting a lot of good conversation. So what the heck? I'm just gonna microwave some chicken anyways. So some leftovers. The beauty of technology. God, this fan on this computer is driving me nuts. Have I heard of the Jack W. Case plant in Rockford, Illinois? No. I know that, there's an International Harvester plant in Rockford, or there was. That's when they started coming out with the Super M's, the J on the serial number, suffix J, that meant that it had a Rockford clutch in it, which was a 12-inch clutch from the Rockford plant in Illinois. Little known fact, the J in a Super M serial number stands for Rockford clutch. You're welcome. Okay. Your grandfather worked at that plant for one day. I worked at John Deere's cylinder assembly division in Coon Rapids, Minnesota for 3 days. Wasn't for me. Factory work is tough, especially when you're having a hard time getting any help your first few days. You know, there was no training whatsoever. It was, here's your machine, go to work. And I had never operated a CNC before. Yeah, I can help you figure out what year that M is. Wow, that would not be fun. I wouldn't want to lose any of my fingers. I need them for typing and responding to YouTube comments. Yeah, garden tractors take up a lot less room, you know. Something you might want to think about, maybe a hit and miss engine to put on a trailer to pull behind your garden tractor. They don't take up a lot of room, and that might help you get your antique tractor fix. Have I ever had any luck adjusting a voltage regulator for output? I have never tried that. I don't, I'm not real good at troubleshooting electrical systems. If I can use a test light, you know, on off, that's about the extent of my knowledge. I don't have a clue how to use a voltmeter. Not a clue. All those symbols and everything, that's all foreign to me. Alpha, omega, delta, whatever. Don't know how to use it. Yeah, John, I've looked into some of those barns. Funny thing about where I live is if it's anything over, um, let me think, 100 and, let me think, 120 square feet and under, so 10 by 12, I don't have to pull a permit for. Anything 120 in square feet to 200 square feet, it's a $50 permit, which is just a general permit. Anything over 200 square feet, I have to actually pull a building, like a real building permit. It has to be inspected and all this stuff. And I said, well, what about these prefab sheds? And they said, nope, still got to be inspected. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I want to build a 12 by 16 because it's a 196 square feet. So I'd only have to pull a general permit. It wouldn't have to be inspected or anything. So, but I'd love a 12 by 20. I'd love a 30 by 60. Yeah, send me the serial number. I'll help you. Yeah, that stationary case engine that's a rare engine. There's not a whole lot of S engine units, so it'd be nice if somebody saved that. But all right, Mike, thanks for stopping by. Glad you enjoy the videos, and if you can, don't forget to share that GoFundMe for the H restoration. Any exposure helps, even if we're not generating donations. If we can just get some exposure, and somebody will eventually help us out with donations. So appreciate you stopping by, and glad you enjoy the videos. Yeah, I asked about that too. I said, well, what if it's on skids? And they said it doesn't matter. They actually wanted me to anchor it to the ground to withstand 100-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to pour, concrete pylons in the ground because if I want to move it, I want to be able to move it. And they said, well, just use those dog chain things and then you run cables. I'm like, they ain't going to hold it in place in 100-mile-an-hour winds. You kidding me? I can put one of those dog chain, screw in the ground things in my vise and bend it by hand. The way it's just, I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever. I was thinking about just building it and seeing if they even notice. Because technically I'm way, way over technically what I'm allowed to have parked on the yard. You're only supposed to be able to have 5 vehicles parked outside, and they're supposed to be on a minimum of class 5 in the city. That's the ordinance. And I've got the John Deere D, the Minneapolis, the Farmall F20, the cases in the backyard, the Farmall M. The H is inside. I'm missing one. We got 7 tractors. But so there's 6 outside right now, plus there's a trailer. Plus I'm storing 2 camper trailers. Plus my wife's car's outside. Plus my car's outside. So right now there's 11 vehicles sitting outside. So yeah, I know. I couldn't believe they said that. Like, yeah, just thread them dog chain things into the ground. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, come on, man. Here's what I thought. What if I build a shed and then license it as a fish house? Yeah, we can have chickens, but get this. We can have chickens, but we can't have roosters if we don't have 5 acres. Because roosters crow and chickens don't make any noise? Yeah. City ordinances make a whole lot of sense. I don't know if we could have goats, though. We probably could have a couple goats. I always thought they'd be fun. Ethan, yes, sir. We are in Minnesota. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But what are you going to do? Yeah, the goats would really take care of the buckthorn in the swamp, that's for sure. They've actually been using the goats in St. Paul and the ditches to get rid of the buckthorn along the freeways. Speaking of Minnesota nice. But so yeah, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna start building the shed without pulling a permit because I don't really care. Yeah, if I put a tractor in it, it ain't gonna blow away. But I ain't gonna be able to fit a tractor in it when I get all the other yard junk in there. All right, bud. Take care. Thanks for stopping by, and send me the serial number through Facebook, and I'll help you get the year of that. Yeah, pigs will eat anything, man. They don't care what it is. Oh, looks like Jeremy did send the serial number over. F9298J. Well, I'll have to do some research now. Yeah, I know. I used to live in Ramsey. I liked living there, but every it seems like every city's trying to be they're trying to be tolerant, but then they make you jump through all these hoops, you know? Yeah. Like I said, I don't know much about raising anything livestock wise. Goats, chickens, pigs, cows, horses. Don't know much about it. I would like to start a garden in the back though. Thought about growing some pumpkins and squash, and then I'd like to do a raised bed for, beans and cucumbers and tomatoes, onions, stuff like that. Yeah, you got to pay big to play big. That's what I always tell people, you know. But I don't know. So that's what's on my mind right now is what I want to do as far as a shed or a shop goes. If I want to build a shed just to get some extra room to get us by, and then build a shop in a few years. So I'd rather not wait that long, but I don't think we have a choice. So all right, thanks for stopping by, Patch. We'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah. So what's this rain tax I've been hearing about? I saw something about in Illinois, they're talking about taxing people every time it rains. What the heck is that supposed to mean? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Ryan. If the city inspector drives by and sees a shed sitting there and goes, "Hey, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't know I had to pull a permit. It's just a shed. It's on skids. I didn't know. It's temporary, right?" But see, now there's video proof here, and they're gonna, it's only $50 for a general permit. So, and the fine, which is probably way more than the permit fee. $50 permit fee, probably a $300 fine. But I've already been pricing out the lumber, and my plan was to build it in stages. Get the floor done. So, yeah, just take the video down. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I doubt any of those guys are watching Antique Tractor live chats anyway. But so, well, we've been going at this an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know. Does everybody want to keep going? Go another 15 minutes? I really ain't got nothing going on, so yeah, I can have up to two accessory structures on the property, but it can only be a maximum of 1,800 square feet. So I was thinking I could put up a 30 by 40 or 28 by 48, something like that, and then I'd have the 12 by 16 um, as a yard barn, basically. You know what else is goofy here? concrete is considered permanent, but asphalt isn't. So if I were to put in an asphalt driveway, my taxes would be lower than if it were concrete, because concrete is considered permanent. House square footage. No. This is in addition to my house. So I gotta lean back again. Back is starting to hurt. But so in addition to my house, my primary structure, I can have up to 1,800 square feet of accessory buildings. But I can only have a maximum of 2 buildings, accessory buildings. So I can have, including the dwelling, I can have 3 buildings maximum. Hey Steve, how are you? Glad to see you here, man. Don't I love being told what I can do with my land? Yeah. So it gets better. You know, when I built that boardwalk back here, that wetland back there, we can't do anything with it except, I mean, obviously the boardwalk is, we're not altering the wetland, but we can't fill it in. We can't create trails of, you know, hard packed trails for like 4-wheeling. Can't do any of that because it's a protected wetland. All wetlands in Minnesota are protected. Now, occasionally they will let you fill in some wetland, but then you have to create the equal amount somewhere else on your property. So if I fill in, let's say, an acre of wetland, I got to create an acre of wetland somewhere else. So all right, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for tuning in, chiming in. But belly pump rebuild kits, there are none. You have to buy each piece individually that you need, and I hope you sit down when you buy the pieces. They are not cheap. I think um, just one of the check valve springs is like $22 for one spring inside that pump. Your best bet would be to find a used belly pump and just tear that apart too, and make one good one out of 2, because you can probably get a used belly pump for $100 or less for the whole pump, you know. But yeah, they don't have any rebuild kits. I did. Well, I've got the teardown video ready, but I gotta do some sandblasting on some of the parts before we put it back together. Before I can put the reassembly video up. Yeah, it's. I can't remember what the law is on wetlands, but I know you have to, at least at minimum, you have to create the same amount or probably more wetland space somewhere else. So yeah, I can clear brush, but I can't alter the actual topography, you know. Like if I wanted to fill this in and extend my yard, I can't do it. Yeah, we have to. There's all kinds of distances that we have to adhere to as well. You have to be so far off the property line. You got to be so far off your drain field and your septic. Um, you got to be so far back from the road. I don't think the shop can be closer to the road than my house is. So there's all kinds of distances that you got to be aware of. But hey, Connor, how's it going? Glad you can make it. We we extended it a little ways. You know, we're just sitting here talking, and As long as there's good conversation and all that, what the heck? Might as well keep talking. I think our distance is 25 or 30 feet from property lines, and then it's got to be 20 feet or 25 feet from any septic or drain field. So I can't remember. I've got all the building stuff upstairs, but yeah. Am I diehard Farmall or just whatever's old? I like whatever is rust colored, man. I'm not real big into Fords. I've never owned one, so I don't know much about them. The thing that I have trouble with Fords is I can't tell the difference between an 8N, an INN, and a 2N. You know, at a show when they're all parked together, I'm just like, they all look the same to me. So I like things that have individuality, I guess you could say. I know an H and an M look pretty similar, and a John Deere A and a B and a G look similar, but um, I just I've never owned a Ford. I've never owned an Alice. There are some Alices that I like, but my wife put a cap on the amount of tractors I can have at 8, and currently I have 7, and I don't really feel like getting rid of any unless I have to, or I want to really get going on a project and I need the money. And I thought about getting rid of my John Deere A. Craig was actually interested in it, but um, I don't have to. I mean, but I do have that eighth tractor spot is reserved for one that I got my eye on. So, and I've got a lot of videos, so feel free to do anything you want. I got them all organized by playlist too, as far as the tractors go. So there's a Minneapolis Moline, John Deere's, a few Farmalls, the Case SC, a lot of tractor show stuff. Feel free to check them out. Can I recap on what parts I need for the H? Right now, the H is going to need a lot of nuts and bolts and washers, which I'm going to have to get as I need them. The radiator I've already talked about, but I am worried about the radiator, and I don't know. I'm going to try contacting the shop that Squatch uses for his radiators to see if they can help us out. Otherwise, I'm not. We're pretty much down to the bare bones as far as parts that we need. But I'll keep updating people as we go through the assembly process. But I mean, primer and paint we're gonna need. Body filler we're gonna need for the hood and the grill and the fuel tank to smooth everything out and get it looking real nice. But right now it's just the radiator I'm worried about. So as far as tractors go, I don't really touch anything newer than 1955. So the Farmall Super MTA is pretty much the last thing that I'd be willing to work on because it doesn't interest me. It's not that I don't want to learn about it. It doesn't interest me. I like the 1920s or the 19 teens up to the 1950, and that's kind of my bread and butter. So Hey, Connor, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. I'm glad you found the videos, Ethan. Hopefully they've been helpful to you. You know, I know some of them can get pretty long, but I get a lot of people that ask me to include, you know, every little thing that I'm doing, and I try to, but sometimes it makes for really long videos, and people generally don't watch them when they're an hour and a half long, or at least watch them for very long. Plus, they take a really long time to upload. Yeah, I thought about that, you know, finding a radiator at Le Sueur or something, but it's kind of a gamble at that point too. You know, radiators can be real tricky. You know, I'd hate to have to buy one and then go get it pressure tested and fix the leaks, and I end up, you know, $300 into it already when, you know, I could have just brought the original one up to a radiator shop like the one that Squatch uses, you know. It's kind of one of those like 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other situations. But I don't know. I'm trying to catch up on comments here. See if I missed any. Oh, well, I'm thinking we'll go till 7:45, but that's it. I'm getting hungry. So, gosh, I've been getting a lot of Facebook friend requests lately, and sometimes I'm a little skeptical on some, but generally I can feel them out just by going to view their profile, though. Yeah, there's still 20 people watching, so I'm not sure if they're listening, but they're watching. Any other questions that anybody might have that hasn't asked yet? If you're wondering where the H is at currently, the only thing left to do before it goes to sandblast is I gotta bring the top deck cover for the transmission to the self-serve car wash and wash it off, and then everything's ready to get loaded on the trailer and go. So that's about it. Getting real close. We did get some. I got a hold of Squatch, and he was able to. Can I swing the camera around so you can see what you see on your screen? I would, but I'm working off the camera that's on my laptop. It's not like a webcam, so I can't. It's in the screen, so I can't turn the camera around. I could turn the computer around, you know, and let you see our mess that we got going on around here, but I can't turn the camera around. I could take you into the garage quick if if you guys want to see all the parts laid out on the floor. Hey, Richard, thanks for coming in, and I'm very glad that I could inspire you. Get a mirror? I could do that, but I don't have a mirror. I could take you in the bathroom. I could do that. Hopefully my battery doesn't die. All right, you want to see some behind the scenes stuff? There's our fireplace and TV. So this is what I see. So there you guys are. This is me. Welcome to my bathroom. But this is what we got going on. All that stuff is going to sandblast. Okay? So you guys are getting the first live look at what an H looks like completely disassembled. Okay? Sorry, this is kind of hard to do in reverse, but because I got to turn, okay, so I got to turn the computer one way and the screen goes the opposite direction. But that's everything laid out there. Over there is all the transmission parts. There's the engine sitting on the stand still. The tires from Goodyear and Titan Tire. And over on this shelf, there's the fuel tank from Ryan. Up there is the hood and the grill. Or no, the grill and the original fuel tank. Behind the tank is the hood. There's a bunch of stuff you guys probably recognize from the videos. Here's the battery box. There's the replacement engine block for the John Deere D. There's new parts in here. And then in all these boxes is all new seals, gaskets, parts, headlights, steering wheels. Up here, this is a flag that Goodyear sent to help us with the sponsorship. You know, obviously because they provided the tires for the project. You know, they sent a big, like an advertisement flag. But yeah, all this stuff here. You know, axle housings. That's the reservoir for the belly pump. Those are the axles. Clutch housing, rear transmission case, rear wheels, front pedestal, air cleaner, frame rails. I mean, it's all there, guys. Everything that's going to sandblast. So, yeah, I need a workshop. This is it. This is all we got for space. So, 16-foot wide door. That's where the case was parked. And this is where my wife parks. Here's the toolbox. You know, I got that Coors Light sign, but I don't really ever drink anymore. You know, I have no desire to drink anymore. I'm just too dang busy. And if I drink beer, I'm not going to get anything done. So the workbench still has all the lift-all parts laid out on it. I know I mentioned this to, I think I was talking to Kent about it, but this is the original tin for the inner axle bearing. New old stock bearing. You know, a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna go back in the house now. Okay. I'll catch up on the comments now and get my computer plugged back in. Would I like a Massachusetts plate for my collection? Sure. I don't think I have one. That would be awesome. Well, the only reason my wife's car is sitting outside right now is because I have all those parts waiting to go on the trailer. As soon as they go off the sandblast, wife's car goes back inside. So her car's only been outside for a few days. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any desire to drink at all ever anymore. And I did I got all that partying stuff out of my system when I was younger in my early 20s, and it ain't worth it, you know. Where do you send it? Tell you what, Dave, send me an email. I'll put my email address here in the comments, and then send me an email, and we'll work that out. But I very much appreciate that, sir. It's been quite a while since I've gotten any license plates, but I like to display them, and you know, it kind of gives people, you know, a sense of belonging, you know, when they see their stuff hanging up in the shop. And Steve, he actually sent me an American flag that was flown on a mission. That this was a couple years ago. He sent it, and uh, what was I going to say? Oh, I've been waiting to get a flagpole. I want to put the flagpole up out front, and I don't want to fly that flag because that's a special flag. It came with a certificate and everything, but um, I'm going to get another flag, and then I'm going to frame the flag he sent and put it in the house here with the certificate in the frame. But um, yeah, I want to do that here this summer. So, but yeah, we're gonna call her quits at 7:45 here. So another 7 minutes, and that's gonna be it for tonight. So yeah, Richard, cool. Send me an email, man. That'd be very very awesome. I really appreciate that. I love putting those plates up, and I always write on the back, you know, where I got the plate from, and or who I got it from, I should say. So eventually, when I get a shop built, they're gonna go up in the shop. So yeah, no problem, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's today I actually was making a video earlier today that I'll probably get posted maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I was tearing apart the rear wheels, taking the cast centers out of the rims for the H, and then the seat. I had to take the seat off the John Deere A and swap the frame out because the frame on the H, that thing was in rough shape. It had been broken and welded, and it was, you know, the hole where the pivot bolt goes for the front of the frame, that was really really badly worn. And the John Deere A has the same seat on it. It actually had the flip back seat, so I'm gonna use that on the H, and it's in a lot better shape. The actual frame is. So today I think we got to the low 40s, and then tomorrow I think it's supposed to be like 45 degrees, 44, 45. So it's been nice yesterday and today, but man, I'll tell you, earlier this week it was below zero still. All right, so we're down to our last 5 minutes. All right. This has been a good first tractor talk session. I'm glad we did this. I'll try to do it towards the end of every month, you know. That way it's on a somewhat regular schedule. But it's probably not always going to be on weekends just because evenings is the only chance I get to sleep when I'm working, so it might be during the week sometime because I rotate days off every 4 weeks. So it might be like a Sunday night or Monday night, or it could be a Wednesday night or Thursday night. But wherever it lines up in my schedule, I'll do it. Hey, what can we say? we're we're addicts. It's hard to stop good conversation, you know. But see, now we've extended this 3 times, so that's kind of how Minnesotans say goodbye, you know. Um, we say bye and then we walk out the door, and then we talk on the front step for another 15 minutes, then we say bye again, then we walk to the car and stand outside the car and talk for another 15 minutes, then we get in our car and roll our window down and say, you know, it just keeps going on and on and on until eventually you're at the end of the driveway in your car, honking your horn, still having a conversation, driving off. That's how Minnesotans say goodbye. So, what was my most scary tractor repair moment? Or repair moment? I've had a few of them. The case, when I was still living at my other house, that fell off the jack stands. The entire rear section, you know, was the whole from the clutch housing back. The whole thing fell off the jack stands when I was standing right next to it in the garage, and luckily it didn't land on me. So that was a pretty scary moment. Um, the I put this finger right here. I put that through the serpentine belt around the crankshaft pulley on my truck one time. And if you guys have ever cooked a whole tomato, you know how the skin can just kind of fall off. Well, that's what happened to my finger in a spiral all the way around to the end. And yeah, that was an oofda moment. And luckily, I kept my finger, but I got to sit in the ER while they took a small scissors and cut all the shredded skin off my finger. That was fun. I smashed this finger one time. That's why my fingernail's all goofy. I mean, it's still there, but it's goofy. Smashed that finger one time, and that was probably the worst pain, other than getting pepper sprayed, that I've ever had in my life. Because it smashed, but then it split down the middle. So half of it was tore up, and the other half was still 100% attached. So when I went to the ER, because it was bleeding all over, they said, "Well, we're going to have to rip the whole nail off." So they literally grabbed a miniature vice grip and tore my nail off the rest of the way, and that was horrible. It's about as close as a form of military torture I could get. But yeah, OC spray is not fun, but where we work, we use a pepper spray that's OC and CS gas, so it's both in one can. CS gas is what you see a lot of times on YouTube videos when they go into the gas chambers, but yeah, that's not fun. I'd rather go in the gas chamber 100 times than get pepper sprayed. How old was I when I became fascinated with vintage tractors? Probably 6 months old. I've been around the Case tractor since I was born. So my grandpa on my dad's side had the Case tractor and the Farmall M, and he used to work for Minneapolis Moline for many, many years. But yeah, I've got pictures of me in my footy pajamas climbing on the tractors. As soon as I woke up in the morning when I was at Grandma and Grandpa's, that was the first thing I did. I didn't even put shoes on. I just ran outside and climb on tractors. It'd be 6 o'clock in the morning, sun's just coming up, and I'm out there, and my feet are soaking wet from the dew on the grass, and I'm out there in my footy pajamas. It's just how it was. I got some pictures I could show you guys, but I'm kind of saving those for a special video I got. But oh, now we're a minute over our time. Okay, this is the last time I'm extending this. We'll go till 8 o'clock, but that's it. That's it. A 2-hour live stream talking about tractors. People must think we're crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about old tractors. I like anything with an engine, but I don't know what it is with old tractors, man. I think it, especially for me, like the 1930s and 40s and 50s, it was really an impressive era. Between the Great Depression and living with next to nothing, except a can of beans and a loaf of bread to eat for a week. You go from that to World War II when we had an entire country unify and work together to survive, to prevent the spread of what was going on in Europe, and to feed each other. These tractors carried us. And the people that designed them. Did you guys know that when these farmhouse were originally designed, the engineers were told they should have a lifespan of 8 to 10 years? And look, here we are 80 years later, and they're still going. Many of them are still going without rebuilt engines. So it's amazing. It's amazing what kind of simple engineering created. You know, and they designed this stuff by hand. There were no computer CNC machines. All this stuff was machined by hand, and I think it's just the level of craftsmanship. Even though it's simple stuff, relative. I mean, for me, it's complex, but compared to what engineers and machinists do now, that stuff is simple, and it's amazing that stuff still runs. And I mean, you look at the steam engines, for crying out loud, they're 100+ years old, and they're still going strong. That John Deere D. I mean, granted, it's in pretty poor shape right now, but you know that thing's in 1928. Here we are in 2020, and it's going to run again, probably without a whole lot of work. So the Chevy prototype had no oil pump. It's the only one in existence, but still going. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I like to watch Jay Leno's garage too. He's got so many cool things. I mean, he's got a lot of cars, but he's got a lot of really cool steam cars like Stanley Steamers, and he's got a big Advance steam traction engine. If you look in the background, he's got a John Deere D about the same era that mine is, 1920s. I don't know if his is a Spoker D, but it probably is, with his financial backing. But there's a lot of cool stuff on his garage too, and he's smart. He knows a lot about, the stuff that he's got. So he's got um, a stationary steam engine that's out of Henry Ford's collection that was built in like 1832, and it's still going. Plus, he's entertaining. A lot more entertaining than me. Can I share a little bit about my neighbors who have the vintage airplanes? Well, it's not my neighbors, but um, it's probably there's an airport about 20 miles from here, and they have a few airplane hangars that they. I don't know much about them, but I know that there's airplanes being stored in those hangars that are vintage World War II planes and some of that era planes. But I don't know much other than that. Sometimes you'll see them flying over, but yeah, I don't. Sorry, but I don't know much about them. Kent, he knows a lot about vintage airplanes. If anybody ever has any questions, they should ask Kent about it, about the knowledge he has, because he knows way more than I do about vintage planes. I don't know hardly anything about them. But oh, yeah, I know. I thought we were done at 7:15 too. You know how us Minnesotans say goodbye. 5, 6, 7 times, then we finally sign off. Think you saw D at an auto salvage yard today. They had 4 F20s, one with overdrive. That overdrive itself is worth some money, and one with cultivator mounts and levers. Yeah, it's sad the amount of tractors that go to these wrecker yards and get melted down, but can't save them all. It is what it is. I'd rather see them go to a salvage yard than a scrap yard. At least they'll be torn down for parts at some point, I hope. But yeah, I'd love to have a small steam engine, but man, you want to talk about money? That's a whole different ball game. That's all right, Richard. Go ahead and send me an email, and we'll talk more. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm glad you did. Steam engines and large prairie tractors like the kerosene, the oil pulls and um, stuff like that. They're a whole different bracket of collecting. And you look at what Corey Anderson did with his 150. I mean, building it 100% from scratch. Starting with the blueprints and going from there. Man, that's something else. Yeah, just having a boiler built is expensive. The 150 is ain't nothing else like it out there. I'll tell you that. And if you guys watched my roll-log video this year, my Western Minnesota Steam Threshers reunion videos, you saw that I actually got to have a little ride on it, and that was probably the highlight of my summer. Yeah, there's a lot of people that scrapped out their steam engines back in the day. My distant family actually had a couple steam engines and International Titan. I think it was probably like an 816 or a 1020 Titan or 1220 or whatever size it was. A couple of them also had, on my mom's side, there was a couple on my dad's side that also had some vintage um, steam engines and tractors. I know there was a couple steam engines and an unstyled B on my dad's side. So, but I don't know whatever happened to them. I did get in contact with a couple guys through the Steam Engine page on Facebook, and one of them I think is still in operation down in southern Minnesota somewhere in somebody's collection. But yeah, there was a lot of people that parked them way off in the woods and hid them under brush and stuff like that to avoid them being scrapped, for the war effort. Okay, we got 4 minutes. So if you guys got any burning questions, ask now or forever hold your peace. What percent of steamers do I think were scrapped during the war? Probably at least half of them. At least half. I mean, there was a ton of steam tractor companies out there too. I mean, 99%? No, it could be. I mean, they built a lot of them. Case was the king of steam engines. I mean, they built thousands and thousands of steam engines, and they're not a whole lot left. A, they're expensive to repair and maintain. B, they're expensive to haul. So, you got to have the income to be able to take care of that stuff. Ethan wants to know why magnetos. Do you want to know why I primarily use magnetos or why I fix magnetos? I'm confused. You got to elaborate for me. I guess I could answer it both ways. I prefer mags because you don't need a battery to run it. So if for whatever reason let's say you're tight on money, don't have to buy a battery to run your tractor. If your battery dies because you leave the lights on, don't need the battery to run your tractor. There's a whole list of advantages why to run a magneto, but some disadvantages. If you're running, if you're running a pulling tractor, most guys like distributors because you can fine tune the timing just a little bit better to squeeze every ounce of power out of them. But for me, it's not necessary. And for most people, unless you're a big time tractor puller, it ain't necessary to run a distributor. But I just prefer magnetos because they're, at least on the tractors I have, they're very simple. They're self-contained. They make their own spark. Don't have to worry about anything. And if they don't work, you pretty much know it's either your coil, your points, or your condenser. Pretty simple. And I work on them because Rudy's kind enough to be a mentor and pay me to be his mentee. So I learn and help him out, and he pays me for it. So, but it's now 8 o'clock, and I'm hungry. My throat's dry and hoarse, and I don't know. Anybody else got anything? Otherwise, I think we're gonna call her. I'll let you guys say your goodbyes over on the chat for a couple seconds here. And as always, we didn't do any wrenching, obviously, because this is a live stream and a tractor chat, but tractor talk, rather. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll do this once a month as I can. And Don't forget to check out the GoFundMe for the H if you haven't. If you could, share it on your social media pages, and all the link is always in my descriptions for all my H videos. And if you can donate, great. If not, no big deal. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for all the support for everything. And we wouldn't be where we are today without all you guys. So thanks for that, and that's all I got. I hope you guys have a great night, a great weekend, and stay tuned for the next video. Should be up hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. So see you guys later. I'm hitting the button.